Thank you for that. Please go ahead, Meg.
Thanks, Joan. Hello, everyone. My name is Meg Odogi, and I'm a business and data analyst, mainly on the product side, products that we deal with in our company. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward for the session to, how I could leverage my skills more into AI and digitization. Thank you.
Nice to meet you here, Meg, again. Looking forward to working with you, especially for your business. I'm so excited. Let's see how this goes.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Meg. Ruth Momboa, are you able to speak? All right, I can see there was a Bob BB who had just joined. So I think she's dropped. Oh, Penina. Phew. Yeah, I wanted to ask Bob. Okay, Penina, please go ahead and introduce yourself. I know you've just joined us. I would just want to know who you are and what your expectations of AI basically are. That's it. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Penina. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm looking forward to getting to know how to market my business online.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Penina. Yes, looking forward. That's part of the program. How do we use digital tools? How do we use AI as an enabler to do what you want your business to do? Is it scaling, move to the next level, generate more income, get more customers? The good thing is we will leave that up to you, but we'll give you the tools and the knowledge to do so. So welcome, Penina. You are in the right place. So Grace and Ruth, any of you able to unmute?
Yes.
And introduce you. Yes, Grace, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Mule, and I'm a volunteer.
We can barely hear you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me now?
I don't know if I'm the only one, but you sound quite far.
I can't hear anything either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, Grace, if you have earphones, you can use the direct audio. Sometimes that could be a hindrance. As Grace is sorting out her audio, Ruth, are you able to speak? Okay. No problem. Let us just begin so that in the interest of time, and let's get, knowledge. This is this is an interactive class. I'm not here to tell you what needs to be done. I'm here to discuss with you on the opportunities that we are going to get into and look into and explore and, based on you. So in the middle of, the conversation, I will, basically ask you where you see yourself at a particular time, and then we work backwards to see where we can be part of that journey. All right. So I'd like to start by sharing my screen. Allow me to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Oh. Great. I'll confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So this is the Reinvent Program Season 4. And the theme of this particular program is achieving greatness. And the reason we came up with this is whatever it is that you want to do in life, what you want to achieve, we want to achieve it in greatness. So for example, if you want to achieve your career, maybe get a promotion, or you want to find ways to reinvent your business or grow your business, how do we make that even greater? All right, what tools can we use as a result? How are we going to learn to do this better? So this is why we're making this particular program with the, with the intention of creating greatness in you. So but let's see now how that can be achieved. But before we start that, I'd like us to, get to know who Tech Mindset is. So Tech Mindset basically is an institution that educates, sensitizes, and we make sure that we empower the African woman. We empower Africa, right? But we want to make sure that the woman is not left behind. And we do that through education, because as I heard most of us say, how do we educate? How do we learn to educate? Because obviously you cannot teach from an empty cup. How do you tell your children or your sisters, your brothers, your colleagues, the people who are around you that they should learn something when you do not know anything about it? So what we've taken the initiative to do is first to understand what artificial intelligence is and its application, and then we have intentionally created programs to make sure that the people around us in Africa are able to know that, but especially, passionate, and I think I'm also biased. How do we make sure that a woman who does not necessarily have a technical background, a businesswoman, a career woman, a student, gets to understand artificial intelligence and use it for the benefit of her future, whatever that future looks like? Okay. So that is who Tech Mindset is. And the question is, if you're in business, like I had Meg is saying, and I think also June Keriri to some extent, you're talking about that for your daughters as well. And if you're in career, like Dr. Lucy Maranyara, which I believe also, Ruth Momboa is in, and many of us are. And if you're a woman keen to stay relevant in what you do, no matter what you do, the next 5 or 10 years are going to change, but you want to stay relevant in your business. You want to stay relevant in your position at work. You want to stay relevant as a stay-at-home mom. You want to stay relevant to your children. Trust me, you will need this course. And also, if you want to learn the intricate details of the digital world, as I had one of us say, that you want to understand how do you harness the digital tools to your advantage for your business. And then also you're curious about future technologies. It is obvious, I don't even need to tell you. We know that the world is changing and there are future technologies. And the one that is definite and it's already here with us is artificial intelligence. But as women, as ladies, what are we doing about it? And also, if you want to stand out amongst peers, colleagues, industry leaders. So let's say you are this, let me give a relevant, not relevant, but a familiar career. Let's say you're a doctor. Let's even go do this more specific. You're a nurse. Very good. I mean, you're one of the best trained nurses in the country. Very good. But please note, the next class of nurses that are coming on are going to be better than you, because their courses, or rather the current learnings that are happening, are digitized. That is number one. But also two, it's more informed, and we're in a knowledge economy. They're learning more than what we know. But you still want to remain the best nurse there is. I would tell you for free, the best and the only way to do that is to know where your organization or that particular hospital or where the medical industry is going. And it is being revolutionized by artificial intelligence and digital technologies. So if you want to stand out, if you want to be the best in what you do, the sought after, when people are changing, when organizations are changing, and remain there, you need to learn and understand artificial intelligence. And then lastly, not necessarily lastly, but up to where we can, we can foresee, if you care about the next generation, and this has come out here again clearly, if you care about your children, if you care about your siblings, if you care about those who will come after you, it is paramount that we learn and understand artificial intelligence. So let's start building greatness today. And the fact that you're in this particular session, the Mockup session, you are making the right decision. Okay. So here, and I'm apologizing in advance, this might be slightly boring, But to know about the future, you have to understand about the past. That's what I believe. So we can talk about artificial intelligence, we can talk about, future technologies, but if we don't understand where we're coming from, then this information is not going to be relevant for you. So allow me to explain why artificial intelligence is the fourth revolution. So many years ago, before, we were who we were, even born, even our fathers, even our grandparents, when our ancestors were still, trying to figure out how to do things, we had the first revolution. A revolution is whereby a particular innovation comes to play and makes an industry better, okay, than what it was. So the first revolution was water and steam. So years ago, engineers at that time, discovered that you can use water as a source of energy, to turn turbines, for example, or you can use, even better, they boiled the water and realized that you can use steam to create machines. So for example, for mining, they were using mining machines using the steam. Okay, they were even moving small transport systems using steam. But the limitation with this was that for an organization or a country or an industry to survive in this revolution, you had to, number one, either be close to a source of water, okay, or you must have had access to water. And then, you had to find ways to move, water from its source to your industry. So we got so many industries falling off as a result. Of course, when you're failing in something, it is the human nature to keep on inventing, which now brought in the second revolution, which is fire. What do I mean by fire? Let's understand from our point of view how fire came about. We were in hunting and gathering, etc. And, one of us discovered, oh, when I rub two stones together, I create fire. Good, it burns. That's its limitation. But again, it can be used positively. How? To cook, to light your area, to scare animals. So we use this in our own way as Africa to make our lives better. But also we had other parts of the world use it to make electricity. We know the revolution of electricity. I don't need to get into that. So people found a way, innovators, engineers, electricians, they found ways to harness the power of fire energy to create electrification. And that is how, for example, trains were made, vehicles came to play. You could move a train to transport goods from one place to another. So water and steam no longer became relevant. So people started getting used to this, and the town started expanding, because now all of a sudden, you could, if you've not, I don't know if most of us have watched, what was it called? There's this movie about the revolution, the American Revolution, the Andrew Carnegie's, the Rockefellers, etc. It showed this revolution clearly, that the fact that you could get electricity, that means you can create urbanization, etc. That is when the second revolution came. So as a result, then it became difficult. So for example, to keep on, as a result, telephone, the wire telephones were created, etc., etc. But it became difficult to track someone, whether they are there or not, in terms of if they leave the house, you can't get them on phone. If they leave a particular location where, there's a permanent, telephone line, etc., then you cannot get them. So what happened? Came up with further revolution of what? Passing information, tracking, people, being able to get people wherever they are. That is the third revolution, which were information, technology, electronics, and digital. What do I mean by that? So as a result of being there, as a result of being found, as a result of communication, then mobile phones came to play. All of a sudden, you could find anyone, anywhere, wherever they are, because of the mobile phone that could be carried. Mobile phones became, mobile. You could move with them from wherever you are. You didn't have to look for people. Again, information technology, emergence of IT, emergence of computers. And if you're my age, you remember internet came just right before us, and we didn't know what it was. We did not need coding to understand information technology. We do not need, even today, to understand how to create a website, because that is possible today. We do not need coding background to understand how to open a social media page. And that is where we are today. And what has this done to us? This has harnessed a lot of information from the internet. Remember, every time you get into the internet, if you are going to, for example, to log into a website and you want their services, the first thing you do, you share your information. If you want to download an app or you want to access an app, what do? You have to put in your email address, you have to put in your name, you have to put in your phone number where it's necessary. If you want to access material and download, you have to put information. What has this done to us, to our mobile phones, to our computers, to our digital assets? That means there are billions and billions of information. Now, please understand, this is a fact. I'm not talking about things that will come. It is happening today. But the question is, these billions of information cannot be stored on a normal computer, cannot be stored using the current mobile phone storage, okay? And that is why, again, an evolution had to be made to store all this data somewhere. Now, okay, good. We have cloud systems where we can put data, but this is a lot of information. There's a lot of information, for example, Glovo information. How many people request for Glovo today? You request for food, or you request for something medical, you request for, my dawa, all those things. And when you do that, there's a lot of information. First, you tell the world, or rather you tell that particular company your age. And then secondly, you tell them what you prefer. And then another thing, you tell them what you're suffering from, for example, in terms of medication. And another thing is you're telling them your location, because they have to bring those goods to you. And then another thing, you're telling them about where you can be found online, because how did you discover? Sometimes they ask you, how did you know about us? You tell them Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. So they know where you are online. But the question is, how do you think the organization would take advantage of this information to serve you better? That is where artificial intelligence is. Okay, and that is where we are at. We might be looking at this as it's something far-fetched. No, it is something we are using today. You and I are using today. Organizations are using today. And if your organization is not using, it is going to use, because it is a fact that every organization in the world, whether it's in the next 5 years, it's in the next 15 years, but it will not be more than 20 years, will have to become artificial intelligence compliant to survive. It's, for example, today, if you're not online, if you do not have a website, you are irrelevant. It doesn't matter what you think the website is, okay? If you're not using the internet to do business, you are irrelevant. And it's the same spirit, it's the same thing that we're saying. In the next 5 years, I give it 5 years, give or take. In the next 5 years, if you do not understand how to automate or use artificial intelligence, you will become irrelevant. And if you become irrelevant, that's okay. Maybe you'd have lived your life, you'd have gotten your money, built your assets, and good and live a good life. But what happens to the people after you? If you say you're in this world to use your power and leave a legacy or uplift someone else, that is okay. But if you don't take that charge of uplifting others through learning, that's as good as being irrelevant, because you are leaving the people after you without, tools to advance and survive in the next coming years. So that is how and where we came from, and this is where we are. The only fourth revolution, let no one else lie to you, the revolution that is here and it's taking over is artificial intelligence. And why is that so? Defined very clearly. We have, innovations have been made around the mobile phone and the internet. And what has that brought about? Data. And what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is basically finding ways and harnessing data to create meaningful information through that data. You're basically training the machine on how to make decisions using data. Okay. So let us look at digitization. And the reason we've brought this particular season, this is the first season. Season 4 is the first season to integrate digitization, because this is what you realize. As much as people want to understand artificial intelligence, it was so hard for them to jump from level A to Z without going through the process. Most of our students did not understand digitization. And for you to understand digitization and for you to understand artificial intelligence, you have to have the basics about digitization. So digitization, we've had this, I'm sure. If anyone is not familiar with the word digitization, kindly put it on the chat. We're able to explain that further. But using the normal definition of digitization, it's basically conversion of information in form of online transformation. How do you, for example, process what you've written on paper to become online? How do you convert your traditional marketing strategies to use online strategies on the same to reach more people? How do you digitize your voice? How do you make your voice as a marketing tool online? How do you digitize your social area, how you interact with people online? And very soon, and again, this is something that we cannot ignore, money is no longer going to be physical. We could be the last generation, and I mean the generation of between 70s and 80s. And I'm sorry about the ones who are coming forth. This is our current age right now, and we are so used to physical money. But with the introduction of M-Pesa and online transactions and etc., we are getting digital. But the very specific digital currency formation is cryptocurrencies. We've heard about cryptocurrencies because we are getting global. We are trading. There is need to have common currencies. You're no longer going to be trading with Kenya alone or just East Africa, Tanzania. No, it's going to be, because of the transformation, because of the innovation, because of digitization, currency has to become digital for you to be able to trade with the world. That is what we call digitization. So, and it's interesting how the world has been transformed by COVID-19. And allow me to explain this. COVID-19, okay, whatever its history is, whether it was created or it came just by bad luck, it came. That is what we know. COVID-19 was there. It is a fact. It's nothing we can debate about. How it came, that's a story for another day, because the objective here is to look at it. So what did this do? This forced us to stay home and not go to our businesses. What did this do to our businesses? If you could not do your business online, you were hurt in the process. And this was just testing us, not only in Africa, the whole world. It was testing us about our knowledge in digitization. And that is what, brought us to earth and told us, if you're not digitized, you cannot survive in future. In fact, it was a measuring metric to know that, for you to understand digitization, for you to know that you have to survive, you have to understand digitization. Because if you cannot take your business online, or if you cannot work from home, then you cannot feed yourself. If you cannot feed yourself, you cannot feed your family. If you cannot feed your family, you cannot survive. And then what next? COVID brought that reality to play. Otherwise, if it was not there, I don't think the trend, or rather the uptake of digitization would have been so avid, would have been so important. And that is the reason that you got people coming online and want to learn now. You know, you're taking an active role. But when it comes to AI now, the beauty is that we are doing this as early as we can. We don't want to be faced by another catastrophe to now start learning AI at the speed that is not necessary. And that is why we're here. And then again, why does digitization, matter? Because of globalization. Today, if, for example, if we're going to train people in the Reinvent program, we have the ability to train anyone everywhere in Africa, because all information that we are going to share is going to be online and can be accessed by anyone, anywhere in the world. And then again, this is a knowledge economy. These days, you don't have to attend a class to know about something. You can Google, you can YouTube, you can listen, online. It's a knowledge economy. That is digitization. Coding. I'll come to coding. Automation. Automating systems. You don't have to be an accountant these days to do accounting for your business. There are organizations that have, automated the accounting systems. All you just need to do is to pay a license to be able to access information. You just need to put in the numbers and the system automates and creates, a P&L, for example, or a cash flow, or, a liability and asset accounting. And also, I just talked about currency, M-Pesa, again, that's digitization, socialization. These days, I don't have to look for June. In fact, we've never met. We've never met physically with June. Dr. Lucy Manyara, Meg, etc. We find each other online. We find each other on social media pages. That is digitization. And generations that are being born today are not being born to learn. They are being born into digitization. They know nothing else. So if we do not advance their learning, if we do not advance their knowledge, then we are failing, as mothers, as women, as ladies, in our own respect. Okay, so if you feel you have any questions or you need further clarification on this, please do not hesitate. Stop me to ask any question that you have.
Maybe Joanne, before you, sorry about that, Joanne. Before you go on, I'd like to speak about that slide of yours about history and the fourth generation.
Yes.
When you came to the point of coding, I just burst out laughing. I was in the university in the 80s, and I actually used to code with COBOL.
Oh.
Then my kids are asking me, Mom, what is that? You know that one of, And this is when you are doing programming, because I did MIS in my first degree. And this is where you are writing a sheet of paper the whole night. You now type it into those big machines you all see in movies.
Yes.
And then you print out on, I don't know what that paper is called, that big paper.
Yes.
And if by mistake you miss a full stop or dotting your I's or crossing your T's,
yes,
you have to go through that like 20 pages in advance. So I am happy about where we are right now, where I have seen it going through, and I don't want to say my age, but it's whatever Joanne is telling us, it's actually live. I am amazed. And that's why I have to keep up. Because it's that one of where if we don't keep up, we'll be left behind. Back to you, Joanne.
Thank you, June. Thank you, June, for that comment. Yes, I remember even the doors, the MS doors, all those things. I mean, it's quite interesting. And the fact that I said I was going to talk about coding, basically what I even wanted to say about that is that do you know that coding is no longer going to be needed in the next 5 years. So if we're thinking of putting our children through classes of coding, their skills might be relevant. It's like having today the skills of writing a composition through typing on a laptop. That will no longer be relevant. You can do your composition and automate the words, and it creates your story. That kind of transformation. So when it comes to coding, AI is going to take that over and allow me to explain that as we go through the, understanding what artificial intelligence is. So we've come to the flesh of the bone, artificial intelligence. And I know for those who might not have met it or understood it clearly, it's basically training a machine to think like a human being and do the things that we do. What do I mean by that? So just think about very basic things of what you do every day. And allow me to take this back to you. Let me see who's in the audience. Let's see. Yeah, Meg, tell me, if you feel cold in a room setting, what do you do? Now, you as a human being.
Either I put on a sweater or I increase the temperature of the
Absolutely.
AC. Yeah.
Exactly. You put on a sweater or you increase the temperature, or where windows are open, you close them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Good. Let us use that example. So let's say we have an artificial intelligence machine that is empty, and you have the ability, okay, to teach it how to, increase the temperature in the room or to close the window. What do I mean by that? For example, sometimes we might be sleeping in a home and you might not be cognizant of the fact that the temperatures are changing. In the morning, you're waking up, your noses are heavy, your children are coughing, everybody said, okay, how can we do this without having to move from where we are? You have a machine there and you want to train it how to increase the temperature or close the windows where it's necessary. So you basically teach the machine of when it gets to, like 20 degrees, or when it starts going to 28 and going below degrees Celsius, what you do immediately, either if it's a physical AI machine, it will go and pick sweaters from where you put it and put them on you. That is one option. Second option, if you're using a temperature regulator, the machine is able to regulate your temperature every time it goes to 28, it takes it back to 30 or 32, or every time your windows are open and there's a breeze that changes the temperature to slightly below 28, immediately and automatically, it closes the windows. The result of all that basically is to create warmth. But what have you done? You have trained a machine how to perform an action that you would have stood up, gone to the bedroom or to your wardrobe, your closet, to pick a sweater. A machine will do that for you. If you are to stand and go and increase the temperature from your regulator, a machine did that for you. You stand up and go and close all the windows so that you feel warm, but a machine did that for you. That is what we call artificial intelligence, the ability for machines to do what you and I are able to do. And in terms of, for example, when we talk about, even this particular session can be automated by AI. If you're able to see me on screen and I have an artificial intelligence machine on this particular computer, then AI will be able to understand what I want to talk about, okay? And give you that information even before I disseminate it to you, okay? As a matter of fact, it's able to pick up my face and my voice, and it will add even more content, and it will have the ability to make a presentation better than I am, because it knows my line of thought based on what I have been teaching in the past. And it will make this presentation without me necessarily being there. Or to me, for example, how it would help me as your presenter. It will give me key points on the screen right now to present to you without me having to share this particular presentation. That is the power of artificial intelligence, which now brings me to, break it down just a little bit further. There are different types of artificial intelligence. Retail artificial intelligence. What do we mean by that? It's artificial intelligence that can help you commercialize or automate your work processes. Allow me to break this down further. For example, and this is an example that is happening in, unfortunately, I am not aware of, no, Jumia has that, but I'll come to Jumia. Allow me to use McDonald's. McDonald's uses artificial intelligence to customize their customer experiences. What do I mean by that? This is how they use AI. Every time, most of their customers are driving, they're drive-ins. So what happens when it is warm, when it's a certain temperature, let's say it's hot, very hot, and people go through their driveway, most of the people would order a cold Coke, and or what they call, I don't know what this drinks with a lot of ice are called. Does anyone know? The ones that these generations take, is it frozen or what is it called?
There's
Frost.
Frosty, and then
Frosty,
there's
yeah.
we have some ice that's sold at the
It's
malls
full of
nowadays, but I can't
ice.
remember. Yes.
Yeah, those ones, the weird things that our children are taking. And that is what is being ordered all the time when this particular temperature is there. But when it's very cold, you get people mostly in the drive-ins would order a burger and, what do you call this? Coffee, all right? Or tea, latte, etc., hot things. Or when the temperature is normal, then it's neither cold, it's neither hot, then you get a mix of different things being ordered. You could find people are getting juices with their burgers and fries. Or people are even more hungry when it's cold. So what this does basically, when you come in and the last winter you ordered hot coffee and the temperature's coming again, the temperature is below again, and you've come in and ordered another Coke, the screen where you choose the menu is not going to be the same screen as the person behind you. The screen will show you a cold Coke. And then possibly there are people who in the past during the same winter had ordered Frosties. Okay, it would recommend Frosties at 30% discount today. Would you want a burger to go with it? Now, it's not because that's what you bought in the past, but it's because one or two of those orders one is what you ordered in the past, but the people around you at the same temperature ordered the same things. So it would upsell from just one order, just showing you by a screen. So what you see will be mostly relevant to you. You won't understand, but you'll get to see a menu that is appealing to you only. That is the power of retail artificial intelligence. Imagine if you own a store, a clothing store, and you use an AI recommender system. What does that mean? That means every time a man gets into your system, for example, you sell very good shirts and sweaters and ties for men, they order, you get this particular customer who orders blue shirts, maybe because he's corporate, etc., and another one who orders a multi, whatever of colors based on different occasions. Every time this particular person logs in, what they will see in front of them immediately as recommendations of what is on discount and in display are exactly what you like first, or rather what you've ordered in the past, blue shirts. Because highly likely, if you're getting into that store and you've bought blue shirts before, 3 out of 5, the first thing you will see is a blue shirt. You won't understand why you're comfortable with the screen, but it is because of your history that you got into that particular system and you saw blue shirts and that's what you wanted, highly likely. But please also understand, we had Kamau and Joroge, or, Cheno and Mark, who ordered blue shirts, but they also ordered blue socks. What will that recommender system do? It will bring you, by the way, we have an offer of these socks. You won't understand why you like the socks, but it's because it has the blue that you like, basically. So it will recommend for you a pair of socks or a tie that's on offer with the colors that you like, just a different mixture, and so on and so forth. So you get to, you get to understand that with artificial intelligence as a business, if you just use such recommender systems for your business, then you're able to not only keep your customers keep coming back because you know them, or rather they feel comfortable with you, and you know them, and you know what they want before they know what they want, all right? And then secondly, also we have another system that we call the Vision AI. Vision AI is, I know we're all familiar with, companies like Tesla, where they've used Vision AI to get to understand how to create cars to be self-driven. For a car to be self-driven, it must have, sensors or use vision AI to understand what a human being looks like, because otherwise it will not work. It has trained the machine, and in this particular case, the machine is the car. It has trained the car to identify, this is a human being, this is a child, this is an animal, these are trees, this is a pavement, this is another car. So with millions of images fed into the system, then the system becomes smart enough to know what red lights means, what green light means, what a corner means, what a near car means, what a car in front of you means, what the distance between your car and the next car requires you to do. It requires the car to brake, slow, or completely halt, all right, to save your life and to save also the car's, asset. And that is what we call vision AI. Today, when you walk into banks, especially the advanced ones, is immediately you walk into that particular bank, the fact that they have identified your face already, they know the kind of account that you operate in that particular bank, or if you are new in that bank, or the kind of transaction that you want to make in that bank. So immediately, instead of queuing, and I know we'll get there, maybe our banks have not got into that, but there are banks in this world that are able to do that, is that immediately you walk in, you've been told, Joanne, go to counter number 1, and already they know what it is that you want. And you're not being served by a physical human being. You're being served by a system. Your transaction is done within 1 minute. Everything is complete, and you go back home. As a matter of fact, you even have the ability to bank your check. All you need to do is to scan that particular check. It's banked into your account or the account that you intend to bank, and that other person on the other side receives the transaction just because you took out your mobile phone and you did a transaction. All that is the power of AI. Text AI, I believe we all, and I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, we all have email systems. All right. Text AI is the ability, for example, Google uses artificial intelligence to sort your inbox. So these days you get, for example, someone is coming you and telling you that there's a shipment, but I think it went to your account. Do you mind to give us account details? We'll give you half, 50% of the shipment transactions. Sometimes, with lack of knowledge, we get into that and, we get frauded, etc. So Google has trained its machines to identify certain words, certain keywords in an email to know if it's spam or it's not, to know that it's junk or it's not, to know that it's fraud or not. If you're like me, I have received, block this message immediately when I open it, because that person is not in your system, or the words that have been used here are highly likely fraud. That is the power of text. Other than that, we also have chatbots today that are able to identify, for example, if you get into a website like, let's say Safaricom, and you type in bundles or you type in airtime, etc. The next time you get into that and you log in with your details, they know exactly what you are likely to purchase because of the text. As a matter of fact, it would greet you with text and say, hi, Joanne, would you like to buy bundles today? That is the power of text in AI. And then finally, getting to the final part of this is the digital AI. We have a lot of information. Everyone and anyone in business is advertising through Facebook, Twitter. So there's a lot of competition. You're not the only person, for example, selling clothes online. You're not the only person advertising about your shop, your restaurant. You are not the only person who is advertising about a cause. All right. There are millions, if not billions, of people who are in the same business as you are. The question is, how do you sift through this noise and get straight to your customers and get to give them a customized experience? As simple as digital AI. Using the information, the past likes of when you use an AI in your marketing system, AI is able to identify the people who've purchased in your online, for example, the past 3 months, 5 months, your online store are between the age of 12 to 15, for example, and come from this location and, prefer to buy your items at this particular price. And, they love to order this and that. With that particular information, then you can customize your products to target only this specific market. As a matter of fact, it'll show you, they will recommend where you can get this specific niche in any part of the world. Okay, so with that kind of information, with that kind of power, it uses data that has been used in your organization before without you knowing. When people pay through M-Pesa, that is data. When people, when you receive people's names and email address, that is data. For you to collect smarter data, then you have to ask yourself in future, is what kind of information would I need from my customers? I'll need to know their age and location. Good. So if they log into your website, then have them answer those questions and then leave it to AI to figure that out for you. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to put it in an Excel and start drawing graphs. As long as you have an AI tool, and that is what we want to show you, you will have the ability, to know more about your customers. Customer A will not be the same as customer B, and I will not serve customer C as I serve customer A and B. And a good example is the tourism industries. These days, it's not a matter of, we're selling Airbnb or travel packages to anyone and every Tom, Dick, and Harry. These days, companies, organizations, tour companies are using artificial intelligence to know their customers. If customer Joanne Bessia walks in today, and we know Joanne in the past 1 year of her holiday, she walks in with a mug of coffee, or rather a cup of coffee and a newspaper. Joanne loves, a room that has a view of the city. So before I travel, immediately I show my intention of traveling. Immediately my travel agency would book for me. They won't even ask me. They'll book for me a hotel that is near to where I am going, and that window, that the view that I like, and immediately I walk into that hotel. The tour industry, or rather the hotel, will be informed that you must have a cup of coffee when Joanne comes in, and a newspaper. Joanne is not going to wait, take her straight to the room. What have you done? You have served Joanne based on what she has been doing. Vision AI identified how Joanne walked in with a cup of coffee and a newspaper. Experience AI, that is, you got into the room. Most of the times I was sitting near the window because I love the view, and that's where I love working from. And, text AI is the kind of questions I was asking the tourism industry. So when you use that particular data, that particular information, when Joanne walks in, I'd be given a cup of coffee, I'd be given a newspaper, and my room will be as it's supposed to be. And I know, I'll be booked in 2 days, possibly in advance, because in the past I've stayed not more than 2 days. If I have such a tour, company, why would I move to any other tour company in the world? Okay. And this is how to use AI information to give customized experience to your customers. You could have 1 million customers, just like McDonald's. They have millions and millions of people getting to their stores every day, every single day. And this happens to many retailers. The question is, you as an organization, what are you doing about the data? Are you able to serve every single customer, no matter how many millions they are, according to the experience? The screen they see when they get into your website, is it the screen as person B and person C? It should not be. And that is the power of artificial intelligence, bringing me to the last part, voice AI. These days, and that's why I earlier indicated that, you no longer have to write a composition and type. It would reach a point where the first paragraph that either you type in, or if you talk to your computer and tell a story, it could create a more beautiful story out of your story. That is voice automation. It listens, it understands, and based on what you've written on the internet before, it can create a blog post for you. It listens, or it understands through what you've posted in your social media. It can create a social media marketing tool for you. It listens based on what you have been teaching in the past 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You don't have to create a curriculum. It creates for you, because not only does it use your information, but it uses information of anyone who has trained what you have trained in the world to create a customer's curriculum for you. That is the power of artificial intelligence. And that is why we say AI is basically extraction of information that exists to create an artificial intelligence. In fact, what I call it is, automation intelligence, because it automates and makes your work easier. As a stay-at-home mother, for example, you no longer have to rush home after work, exhausted and tired, to go and cook. If you have an AI, and it exists, this is not an example that is fictional, it exists. There are AI machines today, or cookeries, that all you need to do is set up the menu for the whole week, make sure that the ingredients are in that machine. The good thing is the machine has the ability to freeze the food, so you don't have to be worried about, the ingredients that you put. They might be, spoiled. As long as you just cut the onions, the tomatoes, whatever the ingredients require for a whole week, your meal, if you set up that particular machine to make food ready 7 p.m. every night, it doesn't matter what time you get home, early or late, you'll always have your meal served to your children, to your family, to whoever you're taking care of at home, because of artificial intelligence. So it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in business. You don't have to be in school. You don't have to, be in a profession. You can just be at home and create AI abilities just around your home. Security systems, key importance in the safety of our children. There are AI gadgets today that use sensors. Make sure that use actually vision AI. You cannot get into the house if that face is not recognized in that home. And you have to get a text message or a phone call before that person gets into the house. Otherwise, if they force themselves out, then security has to set an alarm where now the security agencies take charge, etc., etc. Now that is the power of artificial intelligence, and this is just a snippet. What we want to do, if you want to revolutionize your business, you want to revolutionize, your ability to understand AI, there's a place we are starting. We are starting from your level. And that is what we are going to first understand, and then we take you through that particular process. Do we have a question up to this particular point or a comment? Let me see the chat. Yes, June, please tell us the example for Jumia.
Thank you, Joanne. You were talking about either text or history of operating.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Kikuyu, and I've noticed the messages told me, oh, you've been with Jumia for 10 years. What can we do for you? Come and celebrate. And then, because I live in Kikuyu, they have this special offer that within Nairobi and Kiambu, especially Kikuyu, anything you order has no delivery charge. So that's one of the AIs they're using.
Yeah.
The other one you talked about, the house, the artificial intelligence, or should I say automation intelligence within the house property.
Right.
We do have a flat in a property in Treleshwa on the new bypass between Lavington and Yaya, which is fully automated.
Yes.
Fully. So some of these things we may say are coming in the next 2 years, but Joanne, believe me, they're already here.
Absolutely.
They are already here. And then also for visual AI, the drive-ins in Nairobi, I don't know whether KFC has it, but I think Burger King has it. So they do recognize your face and they call you by name when you drive up. So we do have it here.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
We do have it here.
I agree with you, John. And I love the Kiambu idea. I mean, that's profound.
And it's coming faster than we thought it would be. But I think, like you said, because of the COVID pandemic, some of the companies that were thinking about it pushed it forward, because we do have a lot that we actually don't know is happening, but there's a lot. And then, you spoke about Google. Yeah. Google now notices the messages you don't open and actually send you a message and ask you, do you want to unsubscribe to this?
Absolutely.
Or even on my, I got a new Android. And if I send Joanne a message, are we meeting today? And you don't respond to me within 2 days, it sends me a reminder. Do you want to resend this message too? Oh. Yeah, my phone, I think I got my phone like 5 months ago. And if I send you a simple message through my Safaricom to your Safaricom, Joanne, are we meeting today? 2 days later, if you haven't responded, it will send me a message and ask me, do you want to resend this message? And I was like, oh my gosh, you know.
OMG. Now, those are AI phones, you know, they're replacing the old phone. Interesting.
I don't know whether, because I have an
Amazing.
Infonix, I don't know whether it's Infonix or whether it's Safaricom, but I am getting reminders, which I have like, what?
Oh my God, that is absolutely AI. Now, those organizations have already, you know, they're already AI enabled. Yeah, that's good to know. Oh my God.
So when you're saying we're 5 years away, no, we're not.
No,
we're actually, I think, a
exactly.
few months away.
Exactly, and I agree. Does anyone else have a comment, or you've come in contact with, you know, AI you'd like to share, or you have a question based on what you just spoke about? Brooke, welcome, and nice to see you here. Maybe you can share with us a comment about AI or what you've learned so far, you know, an eye opener from your end. Please go ahead.
So I graduated from campus in 2020.
Okay.
And I had an interest to work with Safaricom. So one day I got an invitation letter for an interview. And when I was doing the interview, what I realized is that Safaricom is going to become growing in terms of technology.
Right.
So it's going really in the wave of technology. And so one thing that I noticed, maybe when you call Safaricom and maybe you don't get an interest, I think that falls under voice AI. You automatically get a response from Safaricom. So that's one form of AI. And I see a lot of companies, the more I apply, especially in these companies that are really performing well in Kenya, it's really, really geared towards the technology and specifically in artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. That is so true. And in fact, it's gotten me to think about, and one of the reasons that I have studied intensely about, you know, artificial intelligence at the highest levels is because I know the Googles, the Microsofts, you know, the IBMs, and we are grateful for them because they've changed a lot. They've helped us make a lot of work that we do easier. But until when, you know, are we going to have external companies come into Africa because we do not have the skills to set up our own, you know, technological advanced organizations? Right. So, you know, when now we are facing these advanced technologies and artificial intelligence being the biggest of them all, we want to be able to identify, to partner with an external organization, not the other way around, okay, to do business. If I want to transform my, you know, my retail store, I don't have to get an external organization to help me transform. I want to have the power to know how to transform it, know the kind of tools that I would need to do that, and then seek partnership on how to do that. And I think that is one of the things that we intend to do as, you know, small businesses. June, please go ahead.
Joanne, you'd be very surprised at some of the people who are at Google, Microsoft, IBM. Yeah. If you go back to the back room, some of them are Kenyans. Because we did not give them the space within Kenya to work on their ideas, or we didn't appreciate them then. So I do believe, yes, let us get it from within. If my small startup does not have enough capacity to build an IT company, I'll come to Joanne, an IT department. I'll come to Joanne. Joanne, I've got this project. I know you have the capability to do it for me. Or if my company is big enough to have an IT department, have somebody from within, but let's try and encourage our children. Okay, I will say children from this end. Don't go outside. Don't go and look for, because most of all the IT companies in the world go to the back end, go to the computer department. Exactly. If I'm not wrong, they are 70% Kenyans. Absolutely. But those Kenyans were not given the chance to air their ideas or work within home ground.
Exactly. And that is so true. That is so true. And the question is, you see, if you want to create a revolution, it has to start with your mindset. It has to start with you, okay? So instead of me having to, go and work for Google, which is good. I mean, these are employment opportunities that we need, and the opportunities are immense. The packaging, the payment packages are, this is what we want. This is what our children want. But how about we create, you don't want to create your own Google, but you want to create, a kind of platform that if Google is just an addition of part of your overall business, then you've made your business better, so that they are partners because of just a particular section, but not you being absorbed by them. And I think for one of the best ways, or that's what I believe, I don't know about anyone else, is basically to work as Africa from a point of strength, not a point of weakness. We have great minds in Kenya. We have absolutely great minds. But the question is, how do we harness those great minds to build our own enterprises, to scale our own enterprises, so that we work in partnerships instead of absorption, as businesses, so that if, a company like Google wants to buy my company because I meet the standards, I have, automated, I've created the systems, I have my AI, the whole process, it doesn't need me at all. I serve millions of customers, but I am not directly involved. Google, would offer me like 10 billion and make it part of the organization. Well and good, but because you grew your organization in a way that is relevant to the future. And that is what we want. We want to communicate with the world from a point of strength. Okay. Maybe we can take one more example or one more comment, and then we finalize. Penina, what do you think? Penina, are you there? Okay. I think Penina might not be with us. Meg, had you can say one thing or two about AI, or if you've had an interaction before with AI? Meg, are you there? Ruth Momboa. Ruth Momboa, are you there? Oh, okay. Sorry, let me see if I can help you unmute Meg. I don't know what I did. Have you seen the prompt? Okay, you can try speaking.
Hi, John. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Oh,
Please go
okay.
ahead.
So I like the initiative, I like the idea, and I've come across AI, especially on the point that my friend was saying earlier, sorry, I didn't get her name on the phone, that Google alerts you, it gives you notifications, it reminds you like, oh, you haven't read this, or it asks you, are you still interested in this topic? Especially if they check you're tracking on what you read, they ask you, oh, there's something new, do you want to open it? And I like it, and I think it's the way to go. And you're right, most of these tech giants, Kenyans mostly, are there because no one gave them the space to do AI. So it's an area I'm really interested in, to see how I can actually gain and benefit from it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Super. I love that, and that the fact that you're cognizant of the fact that we need more Africans, Kenya especially, because obviously we're Kenyans, but Africa as much. How do we transit, or how do we transit our businesses, to become better, smarter? I love that. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it. Okay, I can see Ruth is saying she's on transit, no problem. We'll move into the next part where for you to start, you have to understand one thing. You have to understand what is your picture? Where do I want to be in the next 5 years? Okay. So for example, for Tech Mindset, where we want to be in the next 5 years is a hybrid institution that is able to give platforms to practice on basic AI, that is practicing on AI without having to learn or understand coding or programming, so that if you're coming in for a lesson, or rather you're learning virtually on a lesson, there's a lab that actually puts your ideas into test so that you know if this is relevant, applicable, and if it can impact. Okay. And also, and hybrid also, we mean physical. You have the ability if you come to Kenya or to Nairobi from wherever you are, you can enter into one of the labs, let's say agriculture, access an agricultural tool that is AI enabled and be able to test, you know, on how the machine can weed, but at the same time, collect information about the soil temperature, about the room temperature, about the kind of nutrients it requires, about the kind of water, you know, amount of water it requires, etc. Or even if it's a medical lab, you're able to, by just vision AI, identify a particular disease based on the photos or images of a human body, etc., etc. That is the vision. So to do that, then we work backwards, number one, by first understanding the education landscape, you know, do a few lessons here and there, collect data, structure the lessons, and be able to, you know, start testing it out, you know, like the way we just said, this is the first program that includes digitization in its program because of the kind of data that we've collected before. And it informs us how to structure. And also another way is that the fewer, the better. Like the Reinvent program, we are taking at least 10 people every class to be able to customize your learnings as closest as possible and to give you the, you know, quality education in a way that if you cannot apply, we have failed. If you know, for example, we give you a test company and you cannot come up with a digital project that includes AI, we would have failed. But the best way to do that, one, is to minimize the numbers, maximize the, you know, the input, and strategize on the output. So on that particular vision, I'd like to challenge you as well. Why do you want to, you know, go through the Reinvent program? That would be my first question. Look at, don't think about now or what has been happening. Look about your tomorrow. Is it because of your business? You want to take it from this particular level A to level D? Okay, what does level D look like? Is it customer centric? Is it technology centric? Is it financially centric? Is it HR centric? Be specific in your goals. What do I want to achieve? Whatever it is. And when you're thinking about this, don't think about AI. Don't think about digitization. Think about the physical aspect of your business. Is it your employees? Then work backwards. How will this particular program then help me achieve that? Because it is our objective to be part of your 5-year journey. Because if you do not get through that journey, as long as we exist, then our, you know, the reason why we're here is not compelling enough. That's what we mean. If you're, for example, like June Keriri said, you know, her goal is to make sure that she understands so that her girls can understand in the businesses that, you know, they will create, etc., etc. If we are not able to work with June to understand how a business can be AI smart, then we have failed. Whatever your goal is, please understand first where you want to be in the next 5 years. Just be focused. It could be so many things. We have so many dreams and goals, but I want you to focus on one thing. Once you've identified that, carry that as your challenge to solve for this class. That small one, it doesn't, in fact, it doesn't even have to be a huge dream. Something very small that if you can do it in a small way, that means you can scale it in a larger way. Just come with that problem and let us work around it. Okay, so on that note, I would have loved, but because the interest of time, I would have loved to ask each one of you how your 5-year looks like, but we'll do this at the beginning, at the onset of the class. So think about it and then write it down. Make sure you come up with that particular 5-year vision, just a small 1% of your business part that you want to see change. And let's work with it and make sure that you can do something about it through this particular program. So basically, this is the reinvent. I don't have to talk about it. I think I have already when we were having the discussion. And then these are the objectives of the class. Understand you. We'll put you in a group setting based on your knowledge of expertise in terms of digitization and AI, and then we grow you from there, which means understanding your objective. That's why I was asking you about your 5-year plan, and then we start from where you are and then go further and educate you now on the digitization, these tools, and help you put them into practice, and also educate you in AI concepts from your particular level, and then help you practice to put them, in a small way, to put them into practice, and then help you implement small projects. So we have a test organization that we're going to work with. Whatever that organization does, pick a small area that could be your 5-year vision in your own area of interest, and then conceptualize that area of implementation. That organization will be your test organization, and see what small change you can make as a result of the knowledge and the practice you would have gained, and then present it. If it was a large organization, how would you scale that idea? Then finally, we get into graduation. For you to graduate, it means you have become better than when you joined, okay? Other than that, it's a 100% online self-learning course. And the details about it is, that's the course structure. We're going to send you this to your emails, so don't worry about it. And then how will it be taught? It will be self-paced online program. You'll have one-on-one coaching, and also you will have practicals. Then you'll be in groups. That means network learning, and then expert learning. You'll have coaches that are experts, and then you come up with the projects just to prove that you can put your knowledge into play. And then this just indicates why why tech mindset. Why do you want to learn of tech mindset? And those are the reasons. We have educated more than 700 students. We have sponsored using partners, young girls and women. That shows our passion about girls and women learning artificial intelligence, etc., etc. So this is what now the class entails. Number one, you will need to register. We have a small registration fee. This is basically for commitment, that you are committing to learn this particular course for the next 8 weeks. So we'll require 8 weeks of your time, 6 weeks of learning, 2 weeks of your project. All right, so you'll need to register. Most of us have. So for those who might not have, kindly register using the forms that we had sent earlier. And then, the full curriculum will be sent to you. And also now from 6th, you will receive the login details to begin learning. But other than that, the program for the 8 weeks is going for $180. That's about 18,000 Kenya shillings. But because you attended this particular mock-up class, we're going to give it to you at $150. That's about, if you're Kenyan, that is 15,000. So as we had stated earlier, we intend to have at least 10 people in this particular program. So far, we have 5 confirmed registrations, 2 from Nigeria, 1 from Ghana. We want the rest to be Kenyans as well. So we have another slot of about 5 people from this particular group. We'll be happy to learn with you through this particular class. So because you attended the mock-up session, the fact that you've registered, you would have locked in the discount. That is one. But also secondly, you can pay it in installments, up to 3 installments. You can pay it in 1 installment if you're able to afford, but also you can do this 3 parts, 2 parts, basically, that is 50-50, but also you can do it in 3 parts. Just make a commitment fee, and in 8 weeks before graduation, you make sure that you'd have cleared the balance. But other than that, you can also sponsor Someone or anyone you know would need this knowledge, because the more we are, the merrier, and the more knowledge we are able to take it around. If they're not be able to get through this particular program, encourage them, or rather sponsor them for the next program, which will be similar to what you would have gone through, or rather you would have learned. So once you're done with your registration, then you begin learning. And every 2 weeks, possibly on Saturdays, we're going to bring in mentors, women who are already in the AI space, women who are doing AI, are using AI, in marketing, AI in medicine, and they are women. They'll come to talk to you, and you can ask them all the questions that you want. And then also we're going to have another set of mentors who are going to work one-on-one with you on your projects, so that they hold your hand and make sure that you understand how AI can be implemented in a small way and take you through the finish line. All you need to do is avail your, time, at least 2 hours a week. So you can choose to be learning, at least 10, 15 minutes every day, or 30 minutes thrice a week, and you will achieve a goal. After every week, a particular module will pass. By the time you're starting the next week, we expect you, for example, to have moved on to the next module, etc. And please make sure that you attend mentorship classes. It's very important. If we're going to say that we're going to put what we're learning into practice, mentorship is key. And also attend practical sessions. Practical sessions will be online as well, where we'll give you a platform and you will test out things. We would have trained you on what you need to test. And immediately you test, you'll start understanding and knowing how to implement or work with AI, because that's the objective. How do you get into an industry and know what they're doing, okay? And give them advice and sit in the board, and sit in the board to make AI decisions, okay? So that's what we want you to do, and that is what our metrics in terms of gauging how we are teaching is gauged upon. June Kerede, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Joanne, and thank you for all the information you've given us.
Thank you.
My question was, for the ones of us who have registered, will we receive the full curriculum and login details, or do we have to make the payment of 150?
Yes, that's a very good question. Yes, the payment of 150 is, please remember, it's not, you don't have to pay immediately. You pay in installments, but immediately you do the first commitment installment to log into the system, then you will receive. But in terms of curriculum, it's registration. Once you have registered, you should be receiving the full curriculum. But when it comes to accessing now the online classes, at least the first, if you're paying installments, the first installment. If you're paying in full, then the full payment. If you're paying in half, then the half payments. I hope that clarifies.
Yeah, that clarifies. So I am able to receive the curriculum since I've paid the $10.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Anything else? I will side chat you. Thank you so much, Joanne. This has been very insightful. Absolutely. And I will side chat you because I think I need, like you said, for sponsorship, I need my okay, I do have the 3 girls plus my son. They need to see what you've said. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you, June. I appreciate you. Anyone else with a question? Thank you, Meg. Thank you for that comment. I'm glad that it was helpful to you. Okay, so thank you, ladies. I'm excited to see you in class. We'll have a cocktail of class, and the good thing is the way that we are, we'll get to know each other better, and also we'll be able to individualize our project. We'll get to see what others are doing. We'll get to do it ourselves. We'll have fun in the process. And as ladies, we work better when we interact with each other. That's who we are. That's basically what we do. And the fact that this program is designed to do exactly that, I believe it will be an exciting opportunity. So thank you, ladies, for joining us. And yes, Meg, let's side chat, and then we can discuss more of this. So as we conclude on this, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer before we close the session.
Thank you so much, Joanne. No questions from my end.
Thank
This
you.
has been a fantastic mock session, and I think you should hold more for everybody. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Jude. I'm glad to hear
Thank you.
that. Great. Thank you. Anyone else?
And
The next
remember
1 minute.
to send us the recording.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
For
Sure,
the
I'll do that.
children, we shall sponsor to the training.
We should. No, we should. Honestly, it is important. I know I may not use AI to the fullest, but I know my children will. It will find them. So this is one of the objectives that I have as a mother.
It has found them. On my side, it has found them. Thanks,
Is
Joanne.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. So glad and looking forward to seeing you in class. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.